Welcome to Inspiration Station, where we build a sanctuary for your creative spark together. I'm Karina Pardis, a composer, activist, chocoholic, and self-care mom. I'm so glad you're here. This is a place for you whenever you need encouragement or a reminder to believe in you. Last time, we talked about the importance of planting seeds for our trust tree, which is the center of our ability to thrive. Today, we're going to zoom out to our full garden and talk about the process of growing our dreams. Dreams don't just happen on accident, nor do they poof into existence. Joanna Montes, creator of Wildly Dreaming, said, "A dream is the seed you plant to grow your reality." Through this episode, I encourage you to pick one dream that you have and keep it in your mind. It can be a new dream or an old dream, something that seems so far away or something that's really close to fruition. It doesn't matter. Pick one. Apply these principles in tangible ways to what your current reality is or what you want your reality to be. When I was preparing for this episode, I wanted to be able to better understand the process of growing things. I am not a plant expert. I kill plants very easily. I'm awful. I don't like it. I wish I could grow them better, but I'm grateful that we all have different talents, and I have a cousin who loves plants and is amazing with them. She is definitely an artist in her own right with the plants that she takes care of, and they're just so beautiful. So I went to her and I talked to her about how she manages so many different kinds of plants with all of their different needs. And what she said about these plants, to me, gave me so much insight about myself and my own dreams. So I want to share with you how she talked about growing things. And again, I want you to try to apply this to whatever dream it is that you're going to focus on throughout this episode. First, it's important to recognize that different plants have different preferences. They have different preferences when it comes to how much sunlight they get, how much water they get, the type of soil that they are planted in, who their flower bed friends are, and the type of plant food that they need. I love the idea of flower bed friends. This is such a cute name. I love it so much. And I think that we have those. When we talked about our trust tree last time, we talked about who can be in our tree. That's going to be a very small select group. But we have this vast garden around us that expands outside of that tree. Having flower bed friends, I think, is just so enriching. Who are the friends that you can have that don't tread on your roots, that don't steal all of your water, that help you grow better? When you look at the way nature organizes plants, there are many plants that actually help each other grow better when they're next to each other. These are called companion plants. Some companion plants are protective. For example, garlic repels slugs that are attracted to nightshade plants like tomatoes. And others are nurturing, like borage, which is a plant that has blue flowers on it and the oil from its seeds is used for medicine. It keeps insects and pests away from strawberries, but it also attracts honeybees, which helps the pollination of the strawberries. So knowing who your flower bed friends are, who your companion plants are, can be a great way to help your dreams be protected and nurtured. Sunlight, water, soil, plant food, all of those are going to be very individual to you and your needs and what it is that you're trying to grow, but they're all important elements of what does this dream prefer? What are its preferences? What are its needs? And a lot of that is going to be tied to you. What are your needs? What do you prefer? Why? How are they related? Some of these things between you and your dream preferences that are going to overlap, which is wonderful, But sometimes in order to grow dreams, we need to get out of our comfort zone. Knowing the differences between yours and your dreams' preferences is what will help you know where to push beyond your comfort zone, to grow and expand, to go through discomfort in order to get to the learning and growth zone, which we talked about a little while ago. Then once we know the dreams' preferences, then we get to know the environment that they're growing in. For plants, this could include the lighting, which is not just sunlight. If it's inside of your house, the type of lights that you have affects the environment. So does the air quality, so does the humidity. All of these elements to their environment are important. Are you growing your dream in a crowded, messy, cluttered environment? Does it need a clean one? Then there can be changes. Can it grow in that clutter? Then wonderful. Embrace the clutter. Then once we know the preferences and the environment and being aware of all of that, then we get to be prepared for obstacles. Obstacles will always happen when we are trying to grow anything. For plants, that can be a drought. It could be adverse weather, like snow in May. It could be wildlife. It could be weeds. Naming your obstacles is one of the most empowering things that you can do, because then they can't have control over you and you can write the story. Sometimes we have creative droughts. Sometimes we have creative blizzards. Sometimes wildlife and weeds and distractions get in the way. Naming our distractions, recognizing the struggle, is what allows us to then be able to take affirmative action and be proactive in those situations. And because dreams don't happen by accident, proactivity is literally what's required in order to grow dreams. The last thing that my cousin said that I felt was so profound is know your role as the gardener. Thank you, Elise, for such wonderful words. Know your role when you are growing things, when you're growing yourself, when you're growing your community, when you're growing your art. Your role matters. And understanding that role is what empowers you to be able to fulfill it. Also, knowing what your role is not can be very helpful in defining that too. Your role as the gardener is not to determine the color of petals that a tulip will have. That's already there in the seed. We don't get to force things to happen, but we get to present the opportunity for those things to happen. Julie Moore Messervy, the author of The Inward Garden, said, "I have found through years of practice that people garden in order to make something grow, to interact with nature, to share, to find sanctuary, to heal, to honor the earth, to leave a mark. Through gardening, we feel whole as we make our personal work of art upon our land." I love how she said that she needed to practice knowing why people garden. And she practiced that by gardening. Sometimes we need to practice knowing why we have these dreams by going after the dreams. Figuring out why this dream is important is, I think, one of the foundational roots that will help it grow. And remember that we don't water our gardens alone. We can ask for help. This is going to be the focus of the next episode. Asking for help is so important. It cannot be understated. This is your garden, but you are not alone in planting it and in growing it and in nurturing it and in taking care of it. We all need help to do this because it takes time. Just naturally, there's time that is required in order to grow things. I talked last time during the Trust Tree episode about some times and seasons of the bearing of fruit on trees. And I wanted to go a little bit more into that because times and seasons of harvest are extremely unique to each living thing. That includes us. And not only are the times and seasons different, but the amount of fruit that they produce can be different. For example, from the time you plant it, corn matures in 55 to 75 days. And between April to October, it's possible to get 3 crops in if it's warm enough throughout that time. And you'll get 1 to 2 ears per stalk. Pumpkins mature in 90 to 120 days. And you can get 2 to 5 big pumpkins per plant or up to 12 mini pumpkins per plant, depending on how you're growing them. But you'll only get 1 harvest per year. Strawberries are the fastest growing fruit, getting a harvest in their 2nd year after being planted. No other fruit grows faster than that. Then you have blueberries, who are in 3 to 5 years. All of them have different needs. All of them have different environments. Some of them need warm weather and warm soil. Some of them need extremely consistent, whatever it is, it just needs to be consistent. Not a lot of changes. I actually looked up what is the hardest plant to grow, and it turns out it's wasabi. Wasabi takes 2 years to bear fruit, and it has extremely specific needs, of which include the following. It requires shade, and it has to have uniformly moist but not wet soil. It has to have a consistent temperature between 45 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit without big changes in the weather. There's also pH balances in the soil to be thinking about. There's also a certain amount of distance it needs to have between different types of plants. It is so picky. And that's okay. Wasabi is allowed to be picky. It knows what it needs in order to grow. And if it doesn't get that, it's not going to grow. Knowing what we need to grow is not being selfish. Knowing our times and our seasons helps us make better decisions. Sometimes grief has a longer season. You might have a strawberry season, or you might have a corn season. Same thing with our creativity. Our creativity has different seasons. Our relationships have different seasons, and you can grow through all of it. Audrey Hepburn says, "To plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow." I believe that you can build a wonderful tomorrow. I believe that the better you understand the preferences and needs of your dreams and yourself and your community, the greater the impact you will have in your efforts. Your efforts are strong already, and they can be even stronger just by noticing the ebbs and flows and the gives and the takes and the needs and the wants of the environment that you are building. I believe that with your trust tree strong at the center, that your garden will flourish, your dreams will grow, and your garden will be beautiful. I hope you are able to see and recognize and appreciate the beauty of what it is that you're growing. It's there. Keep growing it. Thank you so much for listening. I'm excited to talk to you again soon. Until then, stay creative. Here in this moment with human needs and growing dreams, there's so much out there in the world. Commercials and billboards are telling you just what to do and asking who you think you are. Which voice will you listen to?